Hello, and welcome to Bad Analogies, where we're exploiting every loophole, dodging every obstacle, and penetrating the bureaucracy. Let's get started. I'm Chris West.
I'm Alex Mishark. Welcome. So, watched over the weekend.
Yeah?
My little brother he has never seen The Godfather before.
So it was the coming of age.
Rite of passage.
The rite of passage, yes.
And, my oldest brother, is his godfather. So it would have been cooler if
Yeah, it would have been way
his
cooler.
godfather, but...
Or if his godfather was with you guys.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But, we watched that movie, and I've been thinking about it all weekend. And, have you seen them? You've seen it?
Yes, absolutely.
You're for it. You're pro Godfather.
I love The Godfather. I actually am probably one of the few that prefers Godfather Part 2 than Part 1, but we can get into that.
That's a debate. People have a...
I think so. I mean,
it's
number
not like
one,
a prequel. It's not like a Star Wars prequels thing versus the originals or that kind of thing.
No, and most of the time sequels, like, people are like scoff at sequels, you know. But I think that
it's better than the...
I think so.
Really?
I just like the story better, I think.
So, well, yeah, I mean, in the Godfather, what's his name?
Part one.
Corleone.
Vito Corleone.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were watching it, and that movie for me is such a weird... It's very conflicting. Like, it's conflicting on several levels because you have the family and you have this wedding, and my friend was saying, like, that movie's a true tragedy because comedies end with a marriage, right? And comedies end with a marriage, and they end well. But a tragedy, obviously, this one, it's like a true tragedy because it starts with a marriage and it ends... Well, it starts with his daughter, right?
Yes.
Getting married. But then at the end, I guess that girl's brother would end up being the Godfather. It ends almost like with the opposite of... Like, it ends with the opposite of that insofar as his wife asks him, is it true? Like, are you a murderer or are you a Godfather? And he says, I told you never to ask me about my business. And it's this icy cold scene. And then the end of it, spoiler alert, but the end of it, though, is he says, fine, I'll give you one time. You can ask me about my business this once.
Right.
And it's the most, even though I've seen the movie before, it's the most...
Chilling.
It's chilling, but it's also the biggest... What do you call it? Like, plot twist. The biggest plot twist, it's not the plot twist, but it's that moment. It's like subverts your expectations.
Yeah.
Because he's giving her, he basically convinces her and the audience, you.
Yeah.
That means just this once, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it's at that moment where he just stone cold says straight to her. She goes, did you kill her? Did you kill her brother? Like, is it true? And he goes, no. And you're like, whoa, dude. So then it just ends with a lie. It ends with a lie right inside of their marriage. It's just a stone cold lie right to her face. Anyways, but that movie's really conflicting for me because it's so nostalgic. And like, you watch that movie, you're nostalgic for things that you never experienced before. You know what I mean? Like the movie, I mean the set and the time and
the lighting,
setting, everything about it.
Is so good.
And then also they have all of these like very real looking like big family scenes, or like kids will be in the background, or like there'll be these small passing moments between, like, you know, directives to kill people. Yeah. That are very like familiar.
Yeah, like the kid in the orange when Vito dies. Yeah.
But
the Orange Grove scene, or whatever.
It feels so
wholesome.
Normal.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
it is.
that is the whole thing of the movie, is the contrast between this like extremely dark underworld married to the wholesome like Catholic family. And he's like a godfather, and he becomes a godfather. Right. Anyways, I mean, none of this is a hot take. None of this is fresh on the Godfather commentary. I'm sure is done to death. Yeah. And I'm just the first schmuck to start like, actually thinking about the Godfather. Yeah. But it's it's so awesome. And there's what's weird for me about it is like how, like, I guess the word nostalgic, or like you just feel like, I don't know, you kind of like wish that you were a part of it in some way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, also, there's something really cool about the steely, cold, calm, and totally polite villain. Or like this whole idea of like they're talking about respect, but then they're strangling someone out in the car.
Yeah.
And it's like this, it's either a facade of civility, right? Meaning they're, or, I don't know.
The whole like family first kind of thing too is just very, it is very like Catholic and good, but a complete perversion of it, like a complete like pride of it's the wrong kind of pride in your family, and which I guess there's no like good kind of pride, but like there is like blood, blood runs thicker than anything, and there's a lot of people that I think that look at that and want that, like strive for that kind of family bond.
There is this weird thing. That's what I mean. There's a weird thing where like the system works. Like there's a code, but then like you're watching it like this is lawless. But then there's like a code. For instance, like what I mean by a code, it means like people have everyone knows the rules.
Yeah.
So to speak. There are no rules, but then everyone knows the rules.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy the part 2 more so. Because
I don't remember the second.
So part 2 it's Vito's story. So it shows him as a boy coming to New York, and it's his rise as the Godfather, and it's Michael's like. So it's both stories going simultaneously, and it is awesome. Just again, the nostalgia of part 2 is New York. And the immigration that happened, and like little Vito Corleone is like on Ellis Island, right? And he could see the Statue of Liberty, and he's like coming from Sicily, right? And like he's mute. He's dumb. He's a mute. He doesn't say anything, and he has to like build up his repertoire and stuff, and he has his first murder. And he becomes he knocks off one of the gangsters that are in there, and that's what makes him become like the Godfather. And then you see like the olive oil like facade that he builds. Anyways, so it's him building it, and then Michael building it in Las Vegas. So spoiler alert with that ish.
Sorry,
but not really. But so why?
I mean, the thing that one, I think there's something. I think the reason why, I'm kind of, I kind of hypocrite in this regard, because like I am someone who will say I don't think we should be making backstory movies for standalone movies for someone like the Joker.
Yeah,
like. The Joker is a symbolic character. He's an archetypal character. He represents evil as closest thing to evil with no reason, right? As possible chaos. And he is there at the service of the hero's story, or like Batman. And really, for us to have a standalone movie is like, oh, how can I understand Maleficent? Or how can I understand why the Joker did that?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that might be interesting. It might tease your intellect a little bit. But that's not why they're in the plot. They're in the plot to be the force to be overcome, to be outwitted, to be outsmarted, that good would win. That to have a movie about like, oh, let's understand evil for understanding evil's sake. It's like that's not the point of the character, and you're doing something now different. Now I didn't watch it, so I know all the people. I know people who love it, and they say it's awesome.
The Joker.
Yeah.
Well, but
how does that relate to?
But going to this, going back to the Godfather.
The Godfather.
So why
I mentioned that?
Why are you hypocrite?
Yeah, because I love the movie's awesome, and you're kind of sitting there, and you don't really see why the Godfather. You see that in the second movie, probably why he became that way.
Yeah.
But what
you don't see that in part 1, yeah.
No, but in part 1, what I'm saying is like I just love the like cold, classy, scary. Like the villain is way more intimidating when he is not flying off the handle. Do you know what I mean? Like a villain who is emotionally composed. Because what we associate the villain with like rage and anger and violence or whatever.
Well, Sonny falls into that, and like where does it end? It ends his life because of his rambunctiousness, and like he's so fiery.
All of them are in different spirals of consequences for like the sin of it all and the evil. But like the character of the Godfather, and then also how his son is his youngest son, who inherits it all.
Michael, yeah.
Not his hot-headed son.
Yeah.
Ends up being just like him in the sense that like he is calm, he's collected, and when he's intimidating people the most, it's almost as if he's caring for them. And he's giving them, get him a drink.
Yeah.
Like he's in the middle of just terrorizing someone. And he is just as calm as can be. And there's something about that is so off-putting, but at the same time, you're like, this guy is cool. And that's what I mean. Is like it's just
that's why it's hypocritical.
That's why it's hypocritical because you're like watching it. You're like, part of you wants to be as cool as him. At the same time, you're like, this person is a sociopathic murderer. Anyways. I mean, like, do you know what I mean? And also, it's probably just the suits and everyone's like put together. And everyone's like the nostalgia of it all. But
well, I think, I think one of the, I mean, if you haven't seen The Godfather, then you're, like, don't listen to like this podcast or this part. But like the juxtaposition between the baptism by water in the church and then the consequences of the baptism by blood, not
it's
in
an anti-baptism.
It's an anti-baptism. Exactly.
It's an inverse.
It is.
Yeah, I mean
it's life versus death. It is. And it's a beautiful life that like
a new baby
and being a godfather is like it's important, and it's extremely important, and that like I know you're a godfather, and I'm a godfather, and like we should use that as like in the proper way.
But they say they're like, Michael Corleone, do you but they say, do you reject Satan? And
yes,
it's like,
I do.
And then
it's
killing people, and it's like, and all of his pomps and works. And everything.
So one commentary that I've heard about that is that it's interesting that they use the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
They know, like people know, what is the most beautiful. Right. And how can we...
And spiritually most legit.
And the most legit.
Like nobody's calling like some generic like sort of non-denominational pastor when a demon...
Exactly.
Like, the Protestants are running to the Catholic priest who has the exorcised salt, the crucifix, and the Latin prayers.
Yeah.
When stuff gets real.
So I think that like with The Godfather in particular, I think a reason why I like it is because if that is how evil can be, then how good can good be?
Well, and why would they contrast? Why would they contrast the most heinous and evil thing? Now, I think someone could say, I mean, look, this is a great example of how corrupt the churches or hypocritical Catholics are or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't think that's at all what the movie is used to as a device at all.
I agree.
Not just aesthetically, but like the meaning of it. It's like you can contemplate what cold-blooded murder is between senseless mafiosos and the baptism of an innocent child into the life of God. Like one is like a satanic, demonic, system, and another one is just the purity of and like the reliable, just truthfulness of that. That right. So, anyways, I mean, I think that's again nothing original as far as a take on the Godfather. It's just an amazing movie, and well, I've used that for young people, like just to describe like like
The Conjuring, like, or like horror movies or something.
Exactly. Why do you think that Gregorian chants in every creepy scene where they really want you to be weirded out, right? It's because, well, one, that was our thing. It's spiritually awesome and it's beautiful. You only have that association because you've only ever heard it in like the background of a horror movie. That's your exposure to Catholic culture. Like the Western culture, that's what you know it is. Like the nun, a possessed demonic nun. Yeah. And like, oh, nuns are creepy. It's like you watch one movie, never seen a nun in your life. Anyways, but like, why do you think, what's the creepiest thing you could think of the most backwards thing you could think of. A nun possessed by the devil.
Right. Well, like, and
clearly those are opposites, or else it wouldn't be scary.
Satan doesn't create anything. He has to pervert what is good. Right. And so the greatest perversion has to be
the highest contrast.
The highest contrast. The highest, the highest contrast.
And that's why I think The Godfather, in The Godfather, the name The Godfather, it's essentially, it is essentially telling you, like, it's a paradox of telling you, like, he's the Godfather, and he's the Godfather, and that's why it's so chilling and creepy and awesome.
Yeah. So beware of the mafia.
And don't get involved in the mob.
Don't get involved
with murder people. And, like, I don't know, maybe don't have 5 people set up to be murdered by your hitman on the day that you become a Godfather. That's what I learned from the movie.
Yeah.
I thought to myself,
be honest with, those you love.
I thought to myself, I have 4 godchildren. I think to myself, 5 apiece. If I had 5 people killed on the day of the baptism, there'd be 20 people dead, right?
Yeah.
So if you do it right, 20 people wouldn't be dead. It's a good thing. I don't know. Anyways, this has been a movie review episode of Bad Analogies. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.